Let's further discuss this now with Andrei Korobkov. He's a professor of political science and international relations at Middle Tennessee State University, and he joins us now live from Nashville. It's really good to have you on the show today. Now, let's start off here. Do you think that Putin is in a tough spot to reinstate his authority? I mean, does he have to prove to Russians and the rest of the world that what Prigozhin did would have never jeopardized the national security of Russia?
Oh, yeah. This is a tremendous hit, and because of that, it's very hard to imagine that there was some kind of play, conspiracy that Putin participated in to, say, get rid of his top brass, as some guess. The image destruction that resulted from this is tremendous. And there are simultaneously three areas where Putin really is being hurt. First, his personal image as a leader of a nation who is having solid support by, say, 80% of the population. We've all seen images of people cheering the Wagner group in Rostov, and we all know now that they basically have covered more than half of the way from the front line to Moscow, and essentially they met practically no resistance. Second, the myth of unified leadership that is totally supporting Putin and is under his control is also questioned because Prigozhin went against the military leaders. And third, and probably the most important, is the myth of total popular support for the war with Ukraine, because we've seen that Prigozhin, a man who played a key role in this war and was probably the most effective military commander,
Right.
announced that this war was senseless, accused military leaders, but well, it is clear that even though he never touched Putin, lots of his criticism were in reality directed against the president and not against the particular well, officials in the Department of Defense.
Right. So how is this all going to affect the war in Ukraine? I mean, you say that Prigozhin was by far maybe the most effective military commander on the ground, at the battlefield, at the front lines, especially in Bakhmut. How is this going to affect the war in Ukraine moving forward?
Yeah, the loss of this force and the demoralization of those Wagner members who went back and now have to sign contracts with the Department of Defense, well, is a big issue, and it might be dangerous. Then we know that part of these people left with Prigozhin. They allegedly moved to Belarus. But this immediately creates another question mark. What will Prigozhin do in Belarus? Will Putin and his entourage go after Prigozhin? And if not, what will be the role of this Wagner in the conflict? Is there a possibility of a second front being opened in Belarus or not? Clearly, Wagner is by far stronger militarily than the whole Belarusian military. So lots of unknowns here, and the only thing that we know for sure is that we don't know all the truth.
Right.
So we have to follow the developments very kind of thoroughly.
All right, Professor Andrei Korobkov, thank you so much for being with us here on
Thank you.
TRT World and sharing that analysis with us.